next week. But in terms of team and player news, we don't have quite as much as we've had the last few weeks. I feel like that was a huge segment, given at least the last couple of weeks we had so much news. But we got a couple things. Toronto Esports signs Onigod. So, it wasn't very long that Onigod was, like a free agent here. So that's pretty cool. I don't know that much about Toronto Esports. I mean, I just realized that Huck was a general manager. I didn't even know that. But how much do you guys know about that team?
I don't think I've ever seen them play, so
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I recognize some of these names. Yeah, I don't know much. I know that they've been planning on building this team since back at Agents Rising, which was the first major tournament after the game came out. I met the owner who was hanging out with Chris Huck way back then. So this has been in the works for a while. But yeah, we haven't really seen them play. Doesn't look like they actually have a full roster yet either. I only see 5 people.
Yeah, I only see 5 people too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not a full team. I think they had like 4 people before that. So I'm not sure what they're doing. I mean, it's news, but I don't know about the scale of it or like what the.
I think the one noteworthy thing here is it's yet another team with combining Europeans and North Americans, and this game continues to be all funky when it comes to like teams just getting people from all over the world constantly.
That's okay. I mean,
it's
as long
happening
as
again.
it's okay as long as you can manage it, in terms of the logistical aspects and the practice and everything. Okay, yeah, so another North American team potentially there. Okay, the next bit of news is just no team signings or anything like that, but IDQD, who's been a free agent now for months, a couple months now, I believe, maybe even more, apparently is trying out for NRG. So what do you guys think about that?
We've been waiting for IDQD to say something for so long. When did he drop out a Fnatic? I feel like wasn't it?
It was
it before Overwatch Open or after? I don't remember. It's been a really long time.
October or I don't know. It's been
years,
months.
literally years.
Not years. Not years.
Feels like it's been
Okay.
a long time.
So glad to see that. And I think this. So it's also kind of weird because we're not sure if Enigma is still going to be with NRG. And Enigma is a very talented hit scan player. But IDQD, it seems like he can play a little bit more of the McCree soldier role. We know that Enigma was an amazing tracer, but anyway, Enigma was playing more tanks for the team at a certain point. So I wonder if Enigma is still part of that roster, or if IDQD is kind of replacing him, if they're still looking to replace him after IDQD. And again, all these are rumors, not 100% confirmed, but it is still exciting. I mean, obviously, lots of NRG fans out there. Obviously, lots of IDQD fans. I mean, he's got one of the strongest streaming presences out of like any pro player right now. So yeah, I'm just excited to see where he lands.
Yeah, I'm not sure, I guess, what Enigma's deal is, because he was trying out for Liquid this week, but
oh really?
Wow,
I didn't realize that.
He played with them for what tournament was that? The AMM. So that was a thing. Enigma had like this weird confidence issue, and like I think on that team where he would always tell them like, I'm not really confident in my hit scan, even though he had like arguably one of the best aim abilities in like the TF2 scene, and even in this game, like when he played Tracer, he would like pound, but nobody ever but like he himself was holding himself back with like this weird I'm not good enough mentality, which I think was kind of dumb in retrospect. So I don't know. I wasn't really a fan of the NRG announcement because it was like, oh, we're going to see, like, we're not sure if we're going to cut people. So, like, there's probably a lot of people who are, like, on the chopping block, but they haven't actually been chopped yet.
We're starting to see that a little bit more. We're starting to, like, see people who've been on their roster, like, on team rosters, but not playing for them.
Yeah, like, benched too easy. He's not cut.
Yeah, exactly.
And, like, he gets mad when you say cut because he's not technically cut. I don't know. It's, like, stuff like that. It's, like, okay.
We just saw the Betch just finally leave Cloud9, right?
Yeah. He's been sitting on their roster, I think, waiting for buyout. Or I don't even know if he was waiting for buyout or how. Maybe his contract was, like, a year long or something. So they
I think it
technically
was.
Fill it.
Yeah, he hasn't played for like 3 or 4 months.
No, and he wasn't ever intending on playing again. So I don't know what happened there. So whatever. It's just it's like a weird lull or like that just happens. But
yeah,
whatever.
it's just part of the business when you signing contracts for certain periods of time. But yeah, anyways, it'd be great to see IDQD playing on a team again. That would mean
on that team though, can we talk about that? How do you guys feel about that?
I think they're still trying to figure out exactly what roles everybody's going to be playing. Because if IDQD gets on that team for Enigma, then where's Clockwork play? And
Clockwork's Audi, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
I put money on that, but I'm not positive. I mean, he's like, technically they only announced Seb Barton is staying. They were like, oh, we're keeping Numlocked and Dummy, and then everyone else is just kind of whatever. That was more or less the announcement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
I mean, if you think about IDQD's skill set, it probably has the most crossover with Clockwork. So
yeah, that's true. Sense. There are other people. There's still some other free agents too. So there may be a couple rumors and announcements in the near future for NRG. We'll have to see. Exciting though. This is fun. It's it's definitely cool to see the players kind of switching and jumping on teams, and us getting a chance to see different combinations of big name players playing together. Good stuff. All right, events, guys. Let's talk about events. We've got 3 big ones. Obviously, Apex, NGE, and then even Alienware monthly melees started up again. But why don't we start with Korea and start talking about Apex? So this is the second week. I think last week was literally like the first day of matches where we talked about Envious and Misfits, I believe. So this week we actually got a chance to see Cloud9 and Fnatic to start things off. Combox versus Cloud9. Flame, what did you think? Spoilers, by the way, guys. Spoilers here.
Yeah, we're gonna spoil, but Combox not looking like a tier 1 team, I guess. C9 looked really good, I thought. Like individually, I think everyone had Mendo's Tracer was probably the best I've seen it, or probably one of the best Tracers I've seen in recent mental history, I guess. So I think that there was a lot there to talk about. I guess importantly, Surefour wasn't playing DPS; he was playing off tank.
Right. That was surprising.
A big deal.
Yeah, that was very.
Gods' Roadhog looked really good, but again, I feel like they weren't playing a top tier team. It was a very one-sided match, all things considered, and I didn't feel like Combox really stood a chance at any point in that match. But C9 looked really good, I think, and the new roster definitely looks like it has a lot of potential, and I think that's what's most exciting about that match, and just on the whole.
Yeah, Cloud9 ended up winning 3-1, but honestly, it felt more like a 3-0 type of match to me. But it's good. We've been waiting for Cloud9 to start looking good, and getting that first win we were mentioning last week. It's huge in these groups because you can't lose twice. So obviously that first game is a big deal, so you don't put too much pressure on yourself. Actually, you could get through with just one win, right?
It'd be hard. Yeah, there'd be a
possible,
weird tie scenario, head to head. But I think I will say though that Surefour's Zarya didn't look super good. I think I don't want to call him out, but I think he went for I just remember him getting 2 gravitons eaten or something in a row, or some ridiculously hard to do thing. But they still came out really well. They all played. Their comps were a little weird, but it was different. I think they were practicing PTR, anticipating PTR patch. That team's gonna be very scary though if we ever go triple DPS.
It's cool to see God's back.
Yeah,
I mean it's been with him as well. It's been months.
The memes are back.
Yeah, that guy's hilarious. He actually has one of the funniest streams of all time. I wish he would stream more often because that guy has a quirky sense of humor.
Yeah, because he calls all of his streamers his nephews, and they refer to him as uncle. Did you see his announcement or whatever? His C9 announcement. It's
I missed it.
It's welcome. I'm back, or welcome back, your uncle, or something. It was in the announcement. And I was like, oh my god. I mean, he's a great dude. I love him, but he's very heavy on the memes.
That's awesome.
So you're saying that Gots was focusing mainly on Roadhog, and yet Surefour was still playing off tank, so they were just running triple tank.
It was map dependent. I think Gods was playing Genji though, which was weird. I think Surefour is just relegated to that Zarya role right now. Because I don't think that they have plans of removing Zarya from the meta or at any point. Because Zarya's, her stock arguably I think goes down this patch. There's a weird thing where people are oh my god, Graviton won't get eaten anymore, but you won't get as many Gravitons. So people have to remember that is that if you're not farming off of D.Va, Graviton takes a long time to build right now, and you're seeing a lot of Koth maps where teams actually just don't get a Graviton off. and that like has been happening a lot actually, or even in your pubs. Like if you lose the first fight, like sometimes your Zarya just will never get Graviton. So there's like a weird balance there, but I think it's more like Surefour wants to be in control of the Gravitons, or like he feels most comfortable on that hero. Maybe I don't know.
I mean, if he doesn't play it, who else is going to play it?
Exactly, that's what I mean. And maybe really Gods, but like it's weird to see Surefour not on Genji, you know, because like he was always known for his Genji in beta when they were Google Me.
It's like all this these decisions made by relative skill, which is.
I mean, I'm sure we'll see him on Genji. Like maybe Gods will be playing Zarya at some point due to some comp, and they just need a Genji or want a Genji. But for that match, it was. I mean, again, it was like very weird in terms of the matchups. Like the team didn't look super strong, combox, and like I felt like they were playing as if they were ahead. You know, like they were playing a little bit more cocky. Like I think they ran Mercy defense. Like
yeah.
So I think that there was like some of that going on.
There's confidence there,
but I want to see them more.
Match. Yeah,
playoffs will be very good and interesting. I think.
I do have to say, I don't want to see Surefour on Zarya. I mean, I feel like that. I feel like that just takes away from like
Mendo's
spectators.
Got a good Zarya.
Yeah. Actually, I've seen.
Well, Mendo's. I think Mendo's got the best Tracer on the team, but Surefour has the best Genji, and then Gods probably has the best Hog. So someone has to like. There's got to be give. You know, someone's got to play Zarya.
I know, but we don't want to see.
Now that Kaika's gone, so
like when I want to see the superstars playing the heroes that they should be playing, and not having to. Compromise.
Well, maybe they should just ditch Zarya then. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Just screw Zarya.
But hey, I mean, it's cool to see them dynamics switching around, like different players, playing different heroes in different situations, and that's nice.
It's a selfish thing.
They're good. They're going to be very good, I think.
Yeah. It's good. It's definitely been a long time coming, and it's great to actually seeing them getting some momentum here in Korea. The next match we got is Fnatic. It's the first time we actually got a chance to see Fnatic perform in Korea, and they played Kongdu Panthera, and quite honestly, they didn't look very good. I think Kongdu Panthera played well, but Fnatic, I don't think played their best. What'd you think? Any super glaring things that stuck out to you, Flame?
They looked uncomfortable. I don't know. Kongdu Panthera played like very good Overwatch. Like I say that, like obviously, right? They won, but they were like switching heroes. They would like go back to spawn, something that you don't see anymore. Like it used to be a very classic thing. I don't know where teams like lost that ability where like you're on offense and you see the enemy comp and then you switch. Like it was refreshing because I watched like NGE so much. And then teams would see like Symmetric Torbjorn or something and then never switch to like Pharah or Tracer or something just to get by. And then Kongdu Panthera instantly sees Symmetra and they switch to Pharah like immediately. And I was like, thank God. Like someone still will do this, you know? So I think Kongdu Panthera played really well, but yeah, agreed. I think Fnatic didn't look comfortable at all. Like a couple players had like they didn't seem like they were having impacts. I don't want to call anybody out, but there were definitely some players that seemed like they were having a rough day or whatever. So maybe they'll look better in the future. I mean, it's early, so it's their first time in Korea. It
definitely seemed like an off day more than it did just a complete domination. Even though Kongdu Panthera probably is a better team, but it should have been much closer than it was.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Fnatic, of course, they had a good showing at MLG Vegas, but it just feels like they've been on a downtrend.
They're like the meta slave team is like how I put it.
The meta
like
slave.
The team, yeah, like when there's a meta, they always play to it. Like they always they won't budge, you know. And they were trying new things in this matchup. Like I think they would play like Buds on 76 or like Buds on Tracer as opposed to Coolmat. Right? And like they would keep the Zarya in every single comp, but like I felt like Coolmat never really had a good opening because they weren't always running Diva. Like we saw Happy Cool, I think, come off Diva in that matchup too. But like they were putting Buds on like this playmaker role, but I would rather see Happy or Coolmat on. So like I don't know, they didn't look comfortable and they weren't playing the meta. So I think that's why. Like, again, usually they have a game plan. Usually, like, they will be the team that runs the 4 tanks. They will be the team that runs the Beyblade. Like, whatever is the strongest flavor of the month is usually Fnatic running.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll have to see how if they can recover. And again, like, losing your first match, it definitely puts you in a really bad spot where you have to win the next 2 in a row. And Fnatic's group, actually, who's in their group? Let me see with them.
I think that was the hardest match they'll have.
Oh, is it? Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
if that's the
Kongdu Panthera is very good. There's like very few teams
absolutely.
I think that are in that tournament from Korea. I think that are like really, really good. I think Kongdu Panthera is definitely one of them. think they might be better than Lunatic High right now, depending on.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
I thought they were. I thought Lunatic High was probably still a little bit.
The new Lunatic High roster looks meh, but we'll get to that, I guess.
Yeah, well, looks meh, but still, which kind of leads us to the next match, was Lunatic High versus Africa Red, where, I don't know, Lunatic High looked way better than Africa Red there, and I'm not sure how much of it was Africa Red just not being very good versus, I mean, Africa Blue looks so much better than Red, in my opinion. I don't know, what do you guys think? I think it's pretty close between the two.
Anohana, also known as Flower now, is one of the special talents.
Yeah, for sure.
I haven't like studied his gameplay in detail, but every time I see him on the OGN stream, he blows my mind. So yeah.
Well, will he even be allowed to play anymore? That's really the new question.
Oh, I heard about this.
What happened?
So like, I guess I don't personally understand the severity of the crime or whatever. It's wow. It's not really. I mean, I guess it's a crime in Korea. It's like really, really. There's like a weird. I can't really explain it. I don't. I'm not the right person to explain it. The way I understand it though, and it's probably wrong, is that like he was a part of like some underground like Korean internet like organization or something that like is some anti-government and like made some very, very inappropriate jokes on the internet a long time ago. And like they're starting to get resurfaced.
I feel like everybody has this toxic past. I mean, this is something Taimu is known for. A lot of other people.
Yeah, but I think it's like toxic in like an illegal way.
Oh.
Like I think that there's like actually laws against it. So
wow.
Yes,
that doesn't.
It would
sound
be like
very good.
The way I understood it, it would be like the equivalent of if you were like. I don't know what the like shit talking Putin or something, but like in like a very dictator-centric, like you will go to jail. Like I don't know, like you know what I mean, like in that kind of manner, like in a way where it was illegal to like shit talk your leader.
I don't.
Wow. Good thing that's not
sure,
a
isn't like
law
South Korea
here.
super progressive? I don't know.
Oh yeah, they had a VAC band, and he said something about the president. He was like making fun of the president that commits suicide, something, and it was like it's apparently very frowned upon. I think
they might be progressive then, but they're not that progressive. I mean, we know how strict a lot of things are there, even just with social media and you know just you having to link your social security to a lot of things, you know, in terms of gaming and even your social media, I believe, right? Like the whole. I remember back in this days.
And he had a VAC ban, so like, and they're very anti-hacker in Korea. So there's a lot of things. So I'm not sure about they apparently all had to delete their Twitter accounts, I think, or had their Twitter accounts deleted.
Okay, wow.
There's a big fuss. I don't think anything has been resolved from it, but there's like a chance and a pretty good chance, I would say, of Nanohana just not being a thing after this, just because I know for a fact that they cut Pine for the same reason, and Pine's gone.
Way.
I think like Pine's actually gone.
Flower is so good.
So I don't know, man.
I'd be sad if that's the case. He's really good.
So like so from what I understand, Ilbo involvement is like being a Nazi gamergator, and like it's pretty like harsh, you know.
Yeah,
it's not a good place to be.
No comment on this.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
No
enough.
idea. Exactly. No idea.
I really don't know enough.
But yeah, overall, just Lunatic High just 3-0 over Africa Red. By the way, Kongdu Panthera 3-0 over Fnatic also. So we'll see a bunch of these teams that seem to be dominating the first week playing each other in this like starting this week. Well, I think Envious plays whoever. I forgot who they play, but they've got the easier group. But then we're going to see Misfits again, and then just a couple of these teams at the end of the week or the beginning of next week. Be sure to check those out. It's like really early in the morning, so you can check those VODs out on twitch.tv/OGN.
5 a.m. Eastern, 2 a.m. Pacific.
Yeah,
it's like the old StarCraft days, man.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Memories.
It's OGN Global, I believe, right? That's
OGN Global.
Yeah.
OGN Global at the worst possible time from both of the globe.
But they split the matches up really nice. Like nice.
Yeah,
actually,
well done.
Yeah, it's good. So, all right, the next one, NGE. So, I didn't get a chance to catch every single match with NGE, but I did catch the last couple days worth. Any big news here, Flame, that you wanted to point out, touch? Any teams that really stood out to you?
I mean, Immortals is playing well. I think most of the teams struggled. They like it didn't look clean. It wasn't like very clean. There were a lot of roster swaps going on during this tournament, and like players switching teams and like new, like the teams that you would expect to do good, like the complexities and the liquids were all like mid roster shuffle or just like internal problems, whether it be like cutting your coach or like losing your coach or picking up a new player or whatever. So it's hard to like deduce much. I think like the brackets are actually really close. Like I think most teams were like 7-3, 6-4, 5-4 or whatever at the end, which was really nice. But from a gameplay standpoint, there were like a lot, like, I don't know, I think it validified the concept of the NA ult. There was a lot of that. It wasn't clean, you know, like, because if you watch like Apex and stuff, you're like, oh, these are pretty high level matches. Or even MLG, like FaZe got like beat really bad in that tournament, but again, like they're losing players, and like it's a weird spot for the scene to be in with that tournament, because I think it was during most of the roster shuffling. So I don't know, that's more or less my take on it.
Yeah, and we're rounding out into the finals, right? It's basically in 2
this
days.
weekend. Yeah,
it's at PAX South, right?
Yep.
It's
on the new patch too, and that's another interesting thing, is that the teams that made it
that's true.
might not be the best at the patch,
that's
and that's going to create like a very different like
possible
scenario.
Weird results, based on
like teams that were first in that might be like fourth now. I don't know.
Yeah, Immortal and Congarna. Just to round out the top four, it's Complexity, Luminosity, Congarna, and Immortals.
Congarna known for their diva play, probably like
that's
one
right.
of the best divas, and now Diva's dead, but she has the best skin, so maybe you pick her for the skin. I don't know.
Is she going to be dead? I think some of these things are still going to be running.
No, she's dead.
She's dead?
Okay.
She's actually dead, Hero.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, she's going to lose 1v1s to like Tracer in 76 now. It's not going to be a good place to be. I think people didn't understand actually how much difference it makes, like when Winston's on you with the armor versus not. And now that the armor might be gone, I don't know. She's in a rough spot for sure.
Yeah, I didn't actually realize it'd be that big a difference, but yeah, definitely 76 and Tracer will have a field day on her, no question.
And Reaper too. Reaper's gonna have a lot better time. Yeah, man, it's a weird state right now for Western Overwatch esports. So many of the top teams, the most famous teams, the most high-skilled teams are out in Korea playing like twice a week. And like these NA tournaments are they're relegated to basically like the up-and-coming teams and the mid-tier teams. So NGE, it's going to be interesting this weekend. It's 100K, 6 teams.
It's a big tournament. Like it's a big...
But it's still not like premier Overwatch right now. I mean, this is like the best we're getting for Western tournaments. But
overall, though, I mean, you're right about that, Ben. But I like it. I like the fact that we have this kind of going on, and even with Alienware too. We're about to talk about that. I like the fact that there's a little bit of a sandbox for some of these up and coming teams, so they get a chance to have some success. They get a chance for us to even talk about them. Otherwise, we'd just be talking about MVS and like over and over again, and just be overshadowed, and it'd be a little bit top heavy, to be honest. So one thing that's cool to see just in this particular tournament is that there's a lot of parity. Like even though the records don't really show it, I feel like a lot of these matches are close, and from the standpoint of relative skill and seeing great matches because of it, it's entertaining because of that. I don't know if you guys feel the same way about that. They're just always looking for just top level, Overwatch skill. But as a spectator, I think it's great getting a chance to see some, really tight matches and have a tournament that has, literally any team could win at one point. I felt, and I still kind of felt that. Obviously, we're down to 4, but I still felt like all those teams had a shot if it wasn't for some roster changes and things like that.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really fun to watch this weekend. I'm actually going to be at PAX South for Twitch stuff. If they still want to tap me as a caster, I'll be there, guys. I will be there. Just say the word. But it's going to be cool because it's taking place on the PAX show floor. So it'll be a kind of cool opportunity to see how much organic interest there is in the general gaming audience to watch Overwatch esports. My gut feeling is there's going to be a lot. I mean, this is a huge game. I think it's going to attract a lot of people who are just going to PAX, may not even know about Overwatch esports, to sit down and watch. So I'm excited to see how the audience fills out and interacts.
So is that a booth? I mean, they're not bringing that mini stadium over there, right?
It's going to be like
it's at the PAX Arena.
Oh no, it's NGE. It's NGE, right? Yeah. So
it's NGE, but it's at the PAX Arena, which is a stage Actually, Twitch and ReadPop, the organizers of PAX, have collaborated on building. Excuse my voice crack. That's been at like 4 or 5 PAXs now. So
Okay.
it's a little mini stage. I think in the past they've probably had, I don't know, a couple hundred seats at most.
I
It's
hope the
not huge,
PCs
but-
are better than PAX East. I will say that for the sake of the players.
Oh boy.
Because I remember,
Okay.
but I mean that was early, right? I don't remember. That might have just been the client too. But I remember the being like, oh my god, it's like 60 hertz or something. So I hope that they have like legitimate PCs for the 100K tournament. But
Right. Who are the hardware sponsors for the PAX
yeah,
event?
that's more or less my
Yeah.
biggest question. I don't know. PAX will be good though. There's also a Nintendo Switch there. You should check that out. Tell me how it is.
There is?
Yeah.
Oh, hype. Let's
I
go.
looked into
Forget
that.
about casting. Just
Yeah, forget casting, dude. Play some Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, exactly. No, but $100,000, lots of money on the line for one of these teams. It's pretty exciting. And then lastly, we've got Alienware monthly melee starting again, and got a chance to watch a little bit of it over the weekend. And we saw Hammers. Hammers ended up winning the whole thing. Again, spoilers. That ended up beating Luminosity. And I have to say, like, this particular event, we started seeing some, newer teams. Hammers has been doing pretty well recently, but a lot of people still don't know who they are. But Spicy Boys, Hammers, I think they had a pretty good showing. What do you guys think?
Spicy
Dude,
Boys?
a team that no one's even heard of winning an Alienware monthly melee. It wasn't like the most stacked ever, but it's winning over teams like Rise, Luminosity, Splice, Liquid, FaZe, all in this tournament, and a team that no one's even heard of takes the win. That's pretty sick. That's great. Like, that's really cool to see.
Yeah, they're tank abusers. I mean, like, they're the number one team to probably get boned by the patch, I would say, right now in my eyes. But like, they have this play style that is literally just, we're gonna group up as 6 and we're gonna run our Reinhardt at you, and like, we're never gonna put the shield up because why? And that's kind of their play style. It's pretty good. I mean, it worked out.
I mean, it was very heavy. I mean, it was like 4 tank, like, for the most part.
It was like 4 tanks,
Yeah,
and like the Reinhardt would never put his shield up. He would
time.
just swing at you, and the Ana would keep everyone alive. And like, that was more or less the mentality. It worked out. I mean, LG almost beat them. LG actually could have beaten them, but like lost by like a Torbjorn ult or something. Like, I don't know, a molten core. There was a bug with a molten core at one point that might have made the difference. So they weren't like dominating through the bracket, but they were. They definitely came out on top. But their strategy was very tank.
Yeah, we'll have to see how they adjust to it. But there were multiple teams that were just very, very tank heavy, like in that particular.
Spicy Boys, though.
Yeah, they look good, right?
Very not tank heavy and like did very well. I thought they have very good up and coming players. I think. I hope that they don't get poached. I think is my biggest.
Yeah, that tends to happen, right? Just
I don't want that team to break up for like some other team. I think there's a lot of tier 1 teams right now that like are starting to feel not tier 1 anymore, and they're getting scared. So they're gonna start trying to poach the new players. Hope that like the new players just stick to their guns.
There's still a lot of free agents out there.
Yeah, there's
though.
a ton of free agents. I'm surprised we're at a point where, the talent is lacking for just top tier teams to pick, more well-known players. Given that there is some marketability to well-known players for some of these unknowns.
Gotta get the coachable players.
The coachable play, that's true.
The
But in the end,
Dreamcasters of the world, the cozies of the world, the sicknesses of the world.
Yeah, exactly. No, but overall, I think it's great for Hammers. It's great for Spicy Boys to get a chance to do that. And, even Luminosity, like, why don't we talk a little bit about Luminosity? They were part of that big trade, the big 3 team trade. And I don't know, how are we liking that team right now? How are they looking to you guys?
They haven't been performing nearly as well as I expected them to. I mean, they had moments of brilliance in the Beyblade meta, if I'm remembering correctly, and now they've been together in a team house, to my understanding, for some time, and it really hasn't improved their results at all. In fact, they continue to sort of slide, it looks like. So I think over in the Luminosity camp, you got to start being a little bit worried about the future of this roster. If you look at other teams as an example, a few tournaments in a row of subpar performance usually means something's going to be mixed up. Maybe they're in it for the long haul, and that's totally good too. But definitely seems like there's something that's not really clicking with that team.
Yeah, individually, I think that they have a very strong roster.
Absolutely.
I think like Spree is probably one of the best Zarya's right now. I think Super Pluke is definitely making a case for one of the better tanks. Hedon, obviously, one of the best Annas in the game. So it might have just been the patch. Maybe they'll be good now. I think Ube is very talented. He just didn't seem like he was having a good time in the tank meta. Like he's very good at Roadhog, but he didn't want to play it. And I guess to the topic of the, what's it called? Of like the team house. I don't think half of them are there. I think 2 of them are still in Europe. I think Ube's still in Europe, and I think there's one more that's still in Europe. So maybe the team house will fix it when they move over.
Oh, I see. I thought they had already all moved over.
No, I think it's just 4 of them. So they have time. I think they're looking very good. They lost. Yeah. I mean, they only lost, I think, Hammers in that tournament. They lost twice to Hammers.
Yeah, they did.
So
yeah, there are times where Ube was
they're good.
Super
yeah,
good.
Just, they need some. Yeah, they got top 4 at NGE. Like they're going to be at NGE lane, and they did get second at Alienware. They're just not. You expect better things of them, I guess, but
sometimes it takes a little bit longer. And like you said, there's some logistical issues right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, why don't we round out into the Q&A section? But before that, did want to give a shout out to a bunch of the folks listening to the show on iTunes. We seem to be getting more and more every week, and that's really, really great. It's starting to grow there. But do want to give a shout out to a couple folks that have left 5-star reviews and some nice comments for us. Captain Rogers and Reviewer 003. Thanks so much for doing that. And if you guys do listen to the show on your iPads or your iPhones and enjoy it, why don't you if you leave a 5-star review, it really helps out the show. Helps people find the overview whenever they're searching for Overwatch podcasts. So yeah, do that if you can. So all right, Q&A guys, and this is we're taking emails from the community, and the first email we got is from Luke B, and it basically asks, would you like to see a rear view mirror ability added to Reinhardt's kit? And he kind of mentions a few things in his just he'd love to see it. He thinks that it might be bad for esports just because it would be really, really hard to watch. And I agree with that. Like camera-wise, it'd be pretty tough. But overall, like I think it would, basically be useful is kind of what he was thinking. What do you guys think with that sort of ability?
I've never seen it in an FPS before. It's kind of a hilarious concept of like having a rear view mirror for a character. I don't know. I mean, I've said it before, anything that is going to up the skill cap of the game and is good. In theory, you could make that argument here, but certainly never seen it in any FPS. So I'm not really sure it makes a ton of sense. And also, let's not forget when you right click, when you're holding up your shield, you're getting good amount of vision anyway, right? So I don't know.
Well, I think his point was just being able to see where your healer is, for instance.
Gotcha.
It might not be such a big deal in tournament play and just the top level, but definitely when you're playing with casuals, there's the times when I play Reinhardt, I'm like, okay, guys, follow me, and then they're with me, and then all of a sudden nobody's with me, and they're doing their own thing, and I'm assuming that there's a healer behind me.
True.
So I think it's for situations like that. Would it even make sense to you guys design-wise? I mean, because I think that's the real question. Like, with FPS games, like you said, Ben, most of the time, yeah, I mean, you're supposed to have to move, your field of vision is supposed to only be in front of you. So adding some kind of ability where, you can basically have camera angles, for yourself, is that really conducive for this type of FPS design?
I don't think it fits. I don't know. It's kind of strange concept.
Yeah, man. They have it in Mario Kart, but
I know that's
like,
exactly.
I mean, I understand why
exactly
it would be good though. It's sometimes you'll be playing Reinhardt and you're like, you have your shield up. I wouldn't hate actually. You know what you could do to fix this? Like the way Lucio, when you have the aura, it says like how many people are getting affected by your aura. I wouldn't mind if there was like a how many people are directly behind your shield number on your screen. Like in a line of sight, straight behind the Reinhardt. Mm-hmm. Maybe that would make things better. So that way, if it says 0, maybe you could just drop it.
Okay.
That could be useful.
That'd definitely be useful. That'd be kind of strange.
It would solve the same problem, but
yeah,
maybe different.
Yeah. but not a bad idea. But I'm not sure if it would work quite as well. And I think another thing he was talking about is just that Reinhardt doesn't have a melee, right? So maybe it could replace that ability. And I kind of agree, generally speaking, that some of the characters that don't have like something like an ability mapped to every single key, or they're lacking an ability, should have something filled for it. I do wish like some of these melee characters did have something that they could use instead. I don't know.
That would be kind of neat.
You ever feel it's imbalanced in any way because of that?
Not
really. Okay.
Not particularly, no.
Okay. Well, let's see. The other one is more of a comment than it is a question. Now that I'm reading through it a little bit closer, but I guess it's a general, just from Jason L. Just a general question about individual play versus team play, just like raw skill versus team play, and how do you actually seeing that laid out right now in terms of Western teams and in Korea? Do you think the raw skill is still equal from the standpoint of regions, and there's just a real difference in team play right now, or do you think it's any kind of dynamics there? Is there any kind of difference there?
Koreans are amazing at the team play aspect. We've seen them just show really high levels of synergy. A couple of teams, not all of them. So I think that from a team play perspective, they're going to be they're only going to get better and better and better, and come up with more unique, specific strategies that involve the most minute movements and teams flowing together perfectly. I think already, in a way, other than like Envious, we already see the Korean teams arguably with kind of cleaner teamwork. But I don't think that necessarily means that like Western teams are making up the difference with just raw skill either. I mean, the West, if you look at some of the top Western teams, they're pretty amazing as well, particularly Envious when it comes to executing and moving together as a team. He does kind of mention some of the in this comment. Jason does kind of mention some of these outlier talents that we do have in the West, and I will agree. Guys like Surefour, guys like Taimu, of course, Genjis like Shadowburn are on such a high plateau when it comes to just raw skill that they amaze and inspire awe. And there's so many moments, so many highlight reels and moments coming from those guys. But I also think if you look at the Korean side, you can look at guys like Zunba and guys like Flower, Nanahana, and see that same level of skill. So in a way, I would kind of agree that Korea might be slightly ahead of the West when it comes to teamwork. But I honestly don't think that the teamwork versus raw skill question is as interesting as the actual difference in play style, because there is a very, very big difference in play style between NA and EU and what we're seeing out of Korea, particularly right now, where NA and EU have been sticking to the Divas, the Zaryas, the Roadhogs, the Reinhardts, the 76, whereas in Korea, and we touched on this earlier in the show, you're seeing tons of Tracer, tons of Genji in a lot of situations that you're not seeing that at all out of the Western teams. They're playing 2-2-2 a lot more. So in my opinion, like, you could kind of argue this, like, everyone's going to have a different opinion, I think, on Korea skill versus teamwork and NA skill versus teamwork. But I think the more interesting conversation, in my opinion, is kind of just the difference in play style. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think during like the past month or two where it's been tank heavy, I don't really know how much individual performance has really shone through.
Right.
So I think like we'll start seeing the answer to that question evolve more as this patch starts running through. If teams start running dive comps, like maybe like one Tracer might just be able to take over a game, or one Genji or whatever, more so than in the past.
Yeah.
I think on the whole, though, I would say that even like Korean's team play right now, at least in OGN, isn't like super, super impressive. Like on the whole of the scene, there's definitely teams that are like very good at it, but I don't think that there's like a huge disparity in the way that they're approaching the game right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and the last comment, just at least what I could tell, is that there comes to a point at the highest level that you know, you can't have somebody just completely carry a team. You know, we've seen Shadowburn in particular in recent history carry his team like to the finals, you know, in a lot of these events. And it's like super impressive, but at a certain point, like, you know, this guy's talking, Jason talks a lot about basketball. At a certain point, the superstars have to be, you know, have to work within the framework of a team to actually reach, you know, to the highest level. And I think we see the same thing in Overwatch too. But anyways, let's wrap up, guys. I think that's been a great show. We've had lots of stuff to talk about, but Flame, you want to start out with some shout outs? Where can people find you?
Find me on Twitch. Find me on Discord. Discord's actually probably more successful than Twitch right now.
Yeah.
Weird. But
dude, Discord's stepping it up. I got this like Discord Nitro message that they have like more emotes
as your avatar.
Stuff. Yeah, dude. There's like,
and all of your emotes become global now, which is insane actually.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome, man.
But
good stuff.
Yeah, Discord's stepping up their game. The audio is really good.
What's the Discord?
It's discord.gg/flame actually.
Wow.
How about that partner?
Yes, imagine that.
Sick.
All right.
Easy.
Ben, shout outs?
Looking forward to watching a bunch of CTF streams. I hope some. So you can't. Did we learn if you can or you can't make custom games with CTF?
You can't.
You can't.
I
know, right?
I really want to see some like super high level CTF just to see what the hell happens, because that would be awesome. Patch hit today. Much needed patch. We're all really happy about this. Looking forward to seeing how the meta changes. Absolutely make sure to watch the NGE finals, the Winter Premiere finals this weekend at PAX South. It's going to be on the same channel they've been running everything on so far. It's going to be really exciting and fun to watch. I'll be there in the audience, most likely. So make sure to tune into that. Apex is still going. And that's pretty much it for like the main tournaments that you should be watching this week. But yeah. Awesome. I actually will be able to make next show now that I think about it. So there's your warning, Chris.
Yeah, all right. I get a week's warning. Yes.
San Antonio.
It's amazing. Awesome.
But yeah, thanks for tuning in.
You're going to be there the whole week, right? That's going to be fun. I wanted to go to Sal too. Oh, I had the last minute I had to cancel. But yes, just for the NGE stream, by the way, it's Overwatch_NGE for those of you that might not have been watching some of the matches. But yeah, I'll round things out. Thanks to the two of you guys for doing the show with me today. Everybody for watching. It's always a pleasure to have the chat just, you know, humming away whenever we're talking. And if you guys didn't catch the beginning of the show, you can find the VODs on youtube.com/ChanManV, as well as all the other previous episodes, all of our great episodes that we've done in the past. You can find them all there. And if you're an iTunes listener, the show will be up a little bit later tonight, as well as Android and just all the awesome podcast channels that are on mobile. They'll all be there by tomorrow morning, so definitely check it out there. But that's going to be it, guys, this week for the overview. So for Flame, Fishstix, and myself, ChanManV, we'll see you next week. Hey, Dove.